Hello friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. We start today's video with a story of birthday drama, guilt trips, and one seriously entitled family celebration. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with the turned on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Here we go. I turned 21, my niece turned 1. Guess who got treated like a child? I, female 21, turned 21 on February 3rd. My niece was born on the same day. My sister, female 25, lives across the country and was visiting. My sister brought up doing a family celebration on my niece's birthday. I interrupted and told them I'd already planned my birthday and asked how we'd arrange it. My plans: morning walk at lake near our house with family, day with boyfriend, and planned dinner party with family restaurant. Their plans: garden party with friend and family dinner at home. My mom tried to dismiss me, telling me I'd had 20 birthdays and this was her granddaughter's first birthday. Lots of people shared birthdays, etc. Their main argument was that we should spend the day together and my plans weren't kid-friendly and didn't involve niece. I told them they could do the party, but I wouldn't come because I already had plans with my boyfriend and he'd organized them already and it was rude to cancel. They also didn't want to do the morning walk because it was too early and it'd be too cold for niece. They wanted to do dinner at home, but I wanted to go to this exact restaurant as we only go on special occasions and we'd already made a reservation. My mom told me to grow up, and if I wanted to do anything that day, I'd have to figure it out myself because she wouldn't pay and I wasn't allowed to use the family cars. My dad interrupted and said that wouldn't happen, and he'd pay for my dinner party and we'd go together for the morning walk. My mom and sister got annoyed, and for the following days, anytime I'd interact with my niece, they'd make comments such as, "Looks how much she likes you. Why wouldn't you want to celebrate your birthday together?" or other guilt-trippy comments. After a few days, I got annoyed and started ignoring my niece. If my sister asked if I wanted to play with them, I'd say no and refuse to engage. This annoyed them even more. Edit to add comment: my niece is attached at the hip with my sister, who's always with my mom. So yes, maybe phrasing it as avoiding my sister would have been more accurate. This is more accurate. I didn't avoid my niece out of spite, but because I wanted to avoid my mom and sister, who was using my niece to guilt trip me. Poor choice of words. On my birthday, me, my brother, and dad got up early and went on our walk. My mom has a mini fit when we get home because they had to wait for us to get home and we already ruined their plans. I was annoyed since the first thing my mom did on my birthday was lecture me, so I told her if she didn't stop, I'd leave and she could spend her whole day with my niece without us ruining her plans. She didn't believe me, so I told her she was uninvited from my dinner and to not show up. I left, had an amazing day with my boyfriend and a great dinner with my dad, brother, boyfriend, and close friends. We got home late and my mom and sister were already asleep, but online my mom posted about the garden party for niece and commented, "Thank you to all that love and care about niece and for showing up today, and for a day free from negativity and selfishness." Call me egotistical, but I got the sense that comment was about me. People throw out words like compromise without realizing it doesn't mean do what I want and be happy about it. What's the plan for next year? My Little Pony themed celebration, complete with a Jägermeister bounce house and Jell-O shots, since you need to blend parties and all? And our second story. Left a polite note about my assigned parking. She responded with a crumpled middle finger. I live in a fairly quiet apartment complex where each unit has one assigned parking space. Nothing fancy, just a small number painted on the pavement that matches your unit number. Simple, right? You'd think. Each person gets one designated spot and the rest are for guests or overflow parking. No drama until I got a new neighbor. At first, things were fine. She moved in, kept to herself, and I figured we were on the same page when it came to parking etiquette. But then one evening, I came home after work to find someone else's car in my spot. I assumed it was just a simple mistake, maybe a friend visiting, maybe the new neighbor was still figuring things out, no big deal. I parked in one of the visitor spots and let it slide, but then it happened again. And again. 3 days in a row, I came home to find her car sitting squarely in my parking space as if she'd claimed it. Still trying to be polite, I left a note on her windshield that said something like, "Hey there, just a heads up, this is actually my assigned spot, unit number. I'd really appreciate it if you could use your own, thanks." It was respectful, friendly, non-confrontational. The next evening, I pulled into the complex and, you guessed it, there she was. Same car, same spot, except this time my note was crumpled up and stuffed under her windshield wiper like a middle finger in paper form. She hadn't just ignored my request, she wanted me to know she intentionally ignored it. That was when I decided, all right, game on. So the next morning before work, I moved my car into her designated spot. It was still open when I got home that evening, so I parked there again. That first day, nothing. The second day, still nothing. But on the third day, I came out to find a note on my windshield. In big, passive-aggressive handwriting, it said, "This is my spot. Please stop parking here." I nearly laughed out loud. Oh, so now we care about designated parking. Interesting. Rather than respond with my own note, I just kept parking in her spot every single day. If she could ignore the rules, so could I. Just with a bit more flair. It didn't take long before she came knocking on my door. I opened it to find her standing there, arms crossed, looking both flustered and annoyed. Hey, she said, trying to sound civil, "You've been parking in my spot." I tilted my head innocently. "Oh, I thought we were doing a swap. Since you were using mine, I just figured we were trading." She blinked at me, clearly caught off guard. "Well, I didn't mean to take yours. I just didn't want to walk so far from the visitor spots." "Yeah," I replied, still smiling. "I get that. But I also don't want to walk far for mine, so maybe we can both just use our assigned spots." She mumbled something about being busy or not realizing it was a big deal and then left without saying much else. But guess what? That was the last time her car touched my spot. Now every day when I pull in and see my parking space wide open and her car over in hers, it feels like a tiny, satisfying victory. No yelling, no drama, just a little strategic pettiness that hit exactly where it needed to. It's funny how something as simple as a parking space can become a battle of principles. But hey, sometimes the only way to remind people of the rules is to play their game better than they do. What the actual F is wrong with some people? How does she think that works? She decided that any parking spot is fine, but is surprised that you don't put up with it and just take hers? What did she expect? And why would she even care that you put your car there if she clearly doesn't intend to use it? And our last story. Taught a Karen not to mess with private property. Finally posting this because this tale is just too juicy to keep to myself. It happened in the late 80s deep in rural Kansas, back when big hair, boomboxes, and acid-washed jeans ruled the earth and nobody had a cell phone. My name's John, 36 at the time, fourth-generation farmer. Dad left me 120 acres of corn, a few cows, and a dozen well-fed hogs that were basically the tractor's chaotic cousins. Most of the acreage was wrapped in an old wooden fence with a narrow side road that met the highway. About 30 yards in sat a nice flat meadow I used for grazing cattle or test driving the tractor after repairs. One sweltering July morning, I rolled out of bed, grabbed my coffee, and spot a brand new beige and white Winnebago parked dead center in that meadow. Fence rails are smashed flat, plastic string lights hanging off lawn chairs, a grill smoking, and a boombox is blasting Bon Jovi. Milling around is a skinny, blonde, and shiny warm-ups and giant sunglasses, the HOA queen herself, pure Karen, plus her beer-guzzling boyfriend with a Motley Crue tattoo. I kill the engine and ask as politely as a broken fence farmer can, what in blazes they're doing? Karen flips her hair and says, "Relax, farmer, your meadow makes the perfect campground, and our HOA rules say any unimproved land around town is community space if it's not properly fenced. Your fence was pathetic, so we decided to chill here. Reminder, they flattened the fence on the way in." We means Karen plus Tattoo Bro. Calling the sheriff takes half a day out here and paperwork's worse, so I clamped my jaw, tipped my hat, and drove off to hatch a plan that didn't involve lawyers or firearms. Enter the hogs. Hogs aren't just animals, they're 250-pound lawn-shredding stomachs on legs that can tear up a patch of ground faster than a teen rips through a pizza. Around midnight, while Karen and Tattoo Bro were guzzling beer and singing along to Def Leppard, I circled the camper in my truck with the headlights off, spreading a 50-pound sack of dried corn in a perfect ring about 50 yards wide. Then I opened the hog pen gate. My porky crew caught that corn scent like bloodhounds. Within minutes, they were waddling across the field, grunting their approval of the free buffet. Just after dawn, a scream tore through the still air, louder than any Ozzy Osbourne shriek. I parked on my porch with binoculars and a fresh cup of joe. Scene check. Hogs happily rooting up lawn chairs, grill overturned, half-eaten string lights flopping in the mud. Inside the Winnebago, Karen and Tattoo Bro peered through the curtains like extras in a low-budget zombie flick. 5 minutes later, Karen got on the camper's landline, remember those, and ordered the sheriff like she was calling dominoes on the moon. Spoiler, our sheriff's no teleporter. He'd arrive 4 hours later. While they waited, Hogs demolished the remaining deck chairs, snuffling and slobbering. Karen shrieked at her boyfriend. He barked back, and their romantic weekend crumbled like a stale biscuit. Then a dark cloud rolled in from the west. Kansas summer rain isn't a sprinkle. It's a fire hydrant from heaven. 10 minutes in the meadow was knee-deep soup. Hogs loved it. Mud wrestling's their love language, while the Winnebago sank to its axles. Sheriff Baxter finally lumbered down the dirt road, mustache bristling. I walked him through everything, plat map, deed, Polaroids of the fence before and after. Baxter shook his head and trudged to the camper where Karen, barefoot, wrapped in a puffy coat despite the heat, streaked with mud from trying to jack the wheels, was waiting. "Ma'am," Baxter said, calm as ever, "you're on private property without permission." Karen screeched, "He's lying. That fence was worthless. It's communal land." "Title's clear," Baxter replied, waving my papers. "You've damaged the fence, trespassed, and from the looks of it, these beer bottles you've been drinking. Either call a tow and leave now, or I ticket you and haul you in." Karen tried a meltdown, but every step in the muck made a loud squelch and splashed more filth across her neon tracksuit. Finally, they caved. One problem, the nearest wrecker was 30 miles away and wouldn't arrive for, you guessed it, another 4 hours. By the time the tow truck crested the hill, my hogs were lounging beside the camper like pink, muddy boulders. The driver hooked a cable, gunned the winch, and yanked. Instead of rolling forward, the Winnebago ripped out a chunky slab of sod, and the back wall, decorated with Karen's festive string lights, cracked loose. Out tumbled the still-hot grill Tattoo Bro never extinguished, sending sparks into the rain-soaked mud right in front of Sheriff Baxter's Polaroid lens. Baxter grinned my way. "John, these photos are going in the report. Might even make the county paper. Free lesson on how not to camp." Karen tried to stomp off in a fury, slipped, and belly flopped into a puddle, leaving a perfect hog hoof print on her backside, where one of my pigs decided to trot by. Fence repairs cost me a day's labor, but a judge later ordered Karen to pay 10 times the lumber bill. The hogs got an honorary day off to wallow to their heart's content. At the next HOA vote, neighbors booted Karen from the presidency. Seems farm-style staycation isn't a resume booster. To this day, whenever Bon Jovi's "Living on a Prayer" hits the radio, I grin like a Cheshire cat. Sometimes the sweetest revenge is letting Mother Nature and a squad of hungry hogs do the heavy lifting. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.